of your needs, every last one of them, and they're going to be.
We're going to review in the beginning what we covered in our last session for the benefit of those who weren't here, and just to give us a quick update on what's been happening since you've been working on your root chakra. So I wanted to start off just kind of reviewing what we covered. We talked about affirmations and the importance of creating an affirmation and how that's effective in working with your chakras. I told you to design an affirmation that states what it is you're trying to become. But you want to state it in the affirmative as if it is already true. And then you want to apply that affirmation to your chakra work. So for example, if you're doing the fire meditation, we talked about the importance of using your mind in the meditation as well. So even as you're staring at the flame, you're also repeating your affirmation. The whole point is that when you're working on the chakras, you're working on your mental, physical, and your spiritual. So you're not just focusing on whatever your physical issues are, problems or needs, but you're also working on the spiritual and the mental, because those energy blocks were created first on the mental level, and then it transcended to the spiritual or the emotional level, and then it took physical form. So when you're working with the chakras, you're dealing with all of those energies, and you're trying to wake up that energy so that it can be rebalanced. What happens is that your body takes it in, and it just stays there. It gets lodged. All that negative energy gets lodged somewhere in your body. And so when you're working with the chakras, you're awakening that dead energy, that toxic energy that might have been there for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. You want to be conscious of that you're working on your mental, physical, and your spiritual self when you're doing chakra therapy. So I want to get a couple of people to share a little bit about what's been going on with your fire meditation, what's been going on with your affirmations, and anything else you might want to share in terms of what happened in between our last session.
Practicing the fire meditation, as my mind is a little bit more sharper.
Okay, good. The purpose of that, the power of affirmations is very subtle. It's not, like you're going to be a different person tomorrow. An affirmation works because you incorporate it into your psyche and you allow it to become a part of your thought process. And so when you repeat it regularly, then it begins to stick, and you start to become, like she said, aware, more conscious. And awareness is always the first step to transformation. Share a little bit about the auric field. I don't really want to get deep into all that. If you have a book, you can read all that on your own. But I just want you to get the connection between the chakra energy and how it affects your body, mind, and your spirit. The aura is the energy field around you. In the church, Jeremiah Bebe Ashman calls it the personal human energy field. We all have an energy field around us that extends 6 feet in all directions. So that the auric field is the subtle energies that color your energy field. Your personal strengths and weaknesses, your state of health and sickness, sadness, love, hate, all those things affect your aura and the state or the health of your aura. I gave you a little list of the different layers and what they represent and the color. So it's like you have a rainbow around you, and all those colors are radiating, vibrating on a particular frequency. But then all of those vibrations are affected by all those things we just talked about. The human energy field takes on an egg-like or cocoon shape around the body. It compromises a number of layers blended together. The energy becomes faster and finer the further away from your body you get. The auric field of a spiritually advanced person will merge into pure, clear, white light. And if you've ever been in a spiritual encounter where you've seen people transcend their mundane state, you might have seen that white light around them. Yeah, we all have one, and if we all seek to be like Jesus, ours will be bright as the morning star too. So all of the chakras are also related to your glandular system. And depending on the health or the state of each chakra, that's what determines the secretion of hormones in your body. So, for example, if you lack certain hormones or your body's not producing certain hormones, then you want to focus on those chakras that govern that production inside your body. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So if you're diabetic, you want to focus on the sacral chakra because that's what helps your body to produce insulin. You want to make sure that or whichever one it is, my bad. You want to focus on that so that you can bring it into balance so that it can help your body and your glandular system function properly. It says we have ingested parasites. That's what Louise calls them, parasites, these negative agreements that we've made in the form of beliefs, in the form of concepts, in the form of distorted images. So it's not just ideas, but it's also our self-perception, how we view ourselves. All of the personal drama that we experience, all of the emotions that burn us up, that leads us into self-destruction, into addiction, into lies, into dogma, fanaticism, are all the result of our beliefs, the result of our program. And we're all functioning from a program. As black people, we have a common program that we function from. It's tied basically into the myth of our inferiority. And so everything in our experience, everything in our personal lives, everything in our collective lives, we decipher through the lens of that agreement. Now, you didn't make the agreement consciously, but you were programmed as a child to accept that agreement. Something wrong with your hair, right? Something wrong with your skin, something wrong with your nose, something wrong with your lips. You were conditioned into that belief system before you had any knowledge of it happening to you. And after it happened to you, then it became a part of your modus operandi. That's just the way you operate. You take it for granted. You don't think about it, but those are the beliefs that are dominating your consciousness and informing your choices and decisions, your patterns and your habits, your likes and your dislikes. It affects everything. So becoming aware of that is step number one. That's why I had you go through that long process in the last session to identify some specific things, mental things, ideas that are tied to physical things, because we have to make that connection. When we first started studying the chakras way back in the late 70s, we did this thing called body-mind. Body-mind awareness, you try to become more aware of how your thoughts affect your body. So what we did was we took a picture of everybody, stood everybody up against a white background, and took a picture of them, and then we cut it in half. And we put the two halves together. And guess what happened when you put those two halves together? One side of the body was dramatically different from the other side of the body. Why? Because your mental attitude, your right brain and your left brain both affect how your body looks. And people, saw one shoulder was up and one shoulder was down. And, I mean, it was incredible just what one picture of your body showed you about yourself. But all of those pictures were a reflection of a person's mental state, mental attitudes and agreements. And so it's important, again, like I said, to be conscious of how our thought process, how our ideas, our values, our perceptions or misperceptions affect our overall spiritual and physical health. So, and again, that's what I like about chakra therapy, because it brings them all together. When you're working on the chakras, you're working on your mental, spiritual, and physical. What images do modern black men and women hold about ourselves that drive us to focus more on our bodies, on our physical being, than on our mental and spiritual capacity? Anybody want to take a stab at that?
The part of God's body. It is His will. Not some of your needs. Every last one of them. And they're going to be. You important to the Lord.